A new horizon. The sleek silver shuttle glided through the star-studded expanse of space, its destination looming ever closer. Zara pressed her face against the viewport, marveling at the sight before her. The Galactic Academy of Higher Learning was unlike anything she had ever seen on Earth. Its crystalline spires reached towards the cosmos, refracting starlight in a dazzling display of colors. Zara took a deep breath, steadying her nerves. As the first human to attend the prestigious institution, she carried the weight of her entire species on her shoulders. The last thing she wanted was to make a fool of herself in front of the galaxy's brightest minds. As the shuttle docked, Zara gathered her belongings and made her way to the exit. The moment the doors hissed open, she was hit by a wave of alien scents and sounds. Beings of all shapes, sizes, and colors milled about the docking bay, chattering in a cacophony of languages that her universal translator struggled to keep up with. A tall, willowy creature with iridescent skin approached her, holding a holographic tablet. "Greetings, Zora of Earth. I am Xinlara, your orientation guide. Welcome to the Galactic Academy." Zara smiled, extending her hand in greeting before realizing her mistake. She quickly withdrew it, remembering her cultural sensitivity training. "Thank you, Xinlara. I'm honored to be here." Xinlara's large, multifaceted eyes blinked in curiosity. "Fascinating. Was that a human greeting ritual?" "Yes, it's called a handshake," Zara explained. "It's a common way to say hello on Earth." "How quaint," Xinlara mused. "Please, follow me. I'll show you to your living quarters and provide you with your class schedule." As they made their way through the Academy's winding corridors, Zora couldn't help but notice the stares and whispers that followed her. Some aliens recoiled at the sight of her, while others leaned in closer, seemingly fascinated by her appearance. "Is it true that humans come from a Deathworld?" A small, furry creature chirped from somewhere near Zora's elbow. Before she could answer, Xinlara intervened. Now, Pipsqueak. There will be plenty of time for questions during the cultural exchange seminar. Let's not overwhelm our new classmate." They arrived at a door that slid open with a soft chime. "These will be your quarters, Zora," Xinlara announced. "The environmental controls have been adjusted to Earth standard gravity and atmosphere. Please let me know if you require any further modifications." Zara stepped inside, marveling at the room's sleek design and advanced technology. "This is amazing. Thank you. Your first class begins in precisely 2.7 rotations," Xinlara informed her. "It's interspecies biology with Professor Xixnogra. I suggest you review the material on xenophysiology beforehand." As Xinlara turned to leave, Zara called out, "Wait. Where's the nearest restroom?" Xinlara's skin shifted to a pale blue, a sign of embarrassment that Zora's cultural briefing had prepared her for. "My apologies, I should have thought of that. There's a multi-species waste recycling station just down the corridor to your left." Once alone, Zara flopped onto the bed, which automatically adjusted to her body's contours. She stared at the ceiling, where a holographic representation of Earth's night sky flickered to life. A pang of homesickness hit her, but she pushed it aside. She was here to prove that humans belonged among the stars, and she wasn't about to let a little homesickness hold her back. The next morning, or what passed for morning on a space station, Zara made her way to her first class. The lecture hall was a grand amphitheater, filled with beings of all descriptions. She took a seat near the front, trying to ignore the curious glances from her classmates. Professor Xixnogra, a towering insectoid with multiple limbs and eyes, scuttled to the center of the room. "Welcome, students, to interspecies biology. Today, we have a rare treat. Our first human student. Zara, would you mind coming down here?" Zara's heart raced as she made her way to the front of the class. She could feel hundreds of alien eyes upon her, studying her every move. "Now then," Xixnogra clicked, "perhaps you could enlighten us about some of the unique biological adaptations humans have developed on your homeworld." Zara took a deep breath. This was her chance to show what humans were made of. Well, Professor, Earth is what you might call a Class 12 Deathworld. We've evolved to survive in some of the harshest conditions in the galaxy. A collective gasp rippled through the audience. Zara continued, warming to her subject. Our planet experiences extreme temperature variations, from scorching deserts to freezing tundras. We've developed complex thermoregulation systems to adapt. She flexed her hand, demonstrating. Our skin contains millions of sweat glands, allowing us to cool our bodies in high temperatures. In cold environments, we can generate heat through shivering and brown fat activation. The professor's mandibles clicked in excitement. Fascinating. And what of Earth's gravity? I understand it's quite high compared to most habitable worlds. Zara nodded. Earth's gravity is about 9.8 meters per second squared. It's given us dense bones and strong muscles. In fact, many of us have to wear gravity compensators here at the Academy to avoid accidentally damaging equipment or injuring others. A tentacled being in the front row waved an appendage. Is it true that your planet is constantly trying to kill you? I've heard stories of massive storms, earthquakes, and floods. Zara couldn't help but chuckle. That's not too far from the truth. We do face a lot of natural disasters. Hurricanes can generate winds strong enough to level entire cities. Earthquakes can split the ground beneath our feet, but we've learned to adapt, to build stronger structures, to predict and prepare for these events. The class erupted in a flurry of questions and exclamations. Zara found herself describing everything from the neutralizing properties of human saliva to the remarkable regenerative abilities of human liver cells. As the lecture came to an end, Professor Zixnogra's eyes gleamed with excitement. Thank you, Zara, for this illuminating presentation. I believe we've all gained a new appreciation for the remarkable species known as humans. Class dismissed, except for you, Zara. I'd like a word. As the other students filed out, still buzzing with excitement, Zara approached the professor's desk with trepidation. Zara, Zixnogra began. I must say, I'm impressed. Your species has faced challenges that would have driven most to extinction. Yet here you are, reaching for the stars. I think you'll find that many of your classmates will be eager to learn more about humans in the coming days. Zara beamed with pride. Thank you, Professor. I'm just happy to share our story with the galaxy. As she left the lecture hall, Zara felt a new sense of purpose. She wasn't just a student here. She was an ambassador for her entire species, and she was determined to show the galaxy exactly what humans were capable of. Little did she know, her greatest challenges and triumphs at the Galactic Academy were yet to come. Trials and tribulations. The following weeks at the Galactic Academy proved to be a whirlwind of new experiences for Zara. Word of the Deathworlder spread quickly, and she found herself the center of attention wherever she went. Some aliens regarded her with fascination, others with thinly veiled fear. But Zara was determined to prove herself worthy of her place among the stars. Her next challenge came in the form of advanced xenochemistry. As Zara entered the lab, she was greeted by an array of bubbling beakers and holographic molecular models floating in the air. The instructor, a gelatinous being named Professor Blob, as the students affectionately called him, oozed towards her with surprising speed. Ah, our human student. He burbled enthusiastically. I hope you're ready for today's experiment. We'll be synthesizing Siraxian acid, one of the most corrosive substances in the known universe. Zara gulped. She'd read about Siraxian acid. It could eat through nearly any material in seconds. But, Professor, is that safe? Professor Blob's body rippled with what Zara assumed was laughter. Safe. My dear, in science, we push boundaries. Now, put on your protective gear and join your lab partner. Her partner turned out to be Glix, a silicon-based lifeform with crystalline appendages. As they began the delicate process of mixing volatile chemicals, Glix couldn't contain his curiosity. Is it true that humans intentionally ingest corrosive substances for pleasure? He whispered, his crystal facets glinting in the lab's harsh light. Zara nearly dropped a vial of bubbling green liquid. What? Oh, you must mean things like hot sauce or carbonated drinks. They're not exactly corrosive, but yeah, we do enjoy a bit of a kick in our food and drinks sometimes. Glix's crystalline structure shimmered in what Zora had learned was an expression of shock. Fascinating. Your species truly is remarkable. As they continued their work, Zora's mind wandered to Earth. She thought of spicy curries, fizzy sodas, and tangy citrus fruits, flavors that would probably hospitalize most of her classmates. The thought made her smile. Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the lab. Zora looked up to see a stream of Xaraxian acid arcing through the air, heading straight for an unsuspecting student. Without thinking, Zara leaped into action. She grabbed a nearby neutralizing agent and dove towards the student, tackling them to the ground just as the acid splashed overhead. In the chaos that followed, Zara found herself being poked and prodded by the Academy's medical staff. Remarkable, the chief medical officer muttered. Any other species would have suffered severe burns from even that brief exposure. But your skin, it's barely reddened. Zara shrugged, wincing slightly at the movement. Earth's pretty harsh. We've evolved some pretty tough skin, I guess. News of Zora's heroic act spread through the Academy like wildfire. Suddenly, the fearful glances turned to looks of admiration. Zara found herself bombarded with questions about human resilience and bravery. But not everyone was impressed. As Zara left the medical bay, she found herself face to face, or rather, face to knees, with Zorg, a hulking Branchian known for his strength and short temper. So the little Deathworlder thinks she's tough. Zorg grumbled, his four eyes narrowing. Let's see how you fare in 0G combat class tomorrow. Zara's stomach churned with anxiety, but she stood her ground. I'll be there, she said, her voice steadier than she felt. The next day, Zara entered the zero-gravity chamber with trepidation. The instructor, a lithe, serpentine being, explained the rules of the combat exercise. It was simple: incapacitate your opponent without causing serious harm. As the gravity disengaged, Zara felt her body float upwards. Years of watching old videos of astronauts on the International Space Station hadn't prepared her for the disorienting feeling of weightlessness. She flailed for a moment before managing to steady herself. Zorg, on the other hand, moved with surprising grace for his bulk. He propelled himself toward Zora with a predatory grin. Let's see what you're made of, Earthling, he growled. The fight that ensued was like nothing Zora had ever experienced. She dodged Zorg's powerful swings, using the chamber's walls to change direction quickly. Her earthborn muscles, even in 0G, gave her an advantage in terms of speed and agility. As the battle raged on, Zora's mind raced. She thought of the countless action movies she'd watched back on Earth, the physics lessons about momentum and inertia, the rock-climbing trips with her family. In a flash of inspiration, she formulated a plan. Zora allowed Zorg to back her into a corner. As he lunged forward for what he thought would be the finishing blow, she used his own momentum against him. With a well-timed push, she sent Zorg spinning uncontrollably across the chamber. Before he could recover, Zara launched herself after him. Using techniques she'd seen in those old space videos, she managed to grapple Zorg from behind, effectively immobilizing him. The instructor's voice crackled over the intercom. Match over. Victory to Zora of Earth. As gravity slowly returned, Zora helped Zorg to his feet. To her surprise, the Branchian's scowl had been replaced by a look of grudging respect. You fought well, human, Zorg admitted. Perhaps there is more to your species than I thought. Zora grinned, offering her hand in the Earth custom of a post-match handshake. After a moment's hesitation, Zorg took it, his massive hand engulfing hers. As they left the combat chamber, Zara was swarmed by excited classmates, all eager to learn more about human fighting techniques and the mysterious action movies she'd mentioned during the match. That night, as Zara prepared for bed, She reflected on the day's events. She'd faced fear, danger, and prejudice, but she'd also found friendship and respect. As challenging as life at the Galactic Academy was proving to be, she couldn't help but feel a sense of excitement for what was to come. Little did she know, her greatest test was just around the corner, one that would challenge not just her, but the entire Academy, and force them all to redefine their understanding of what it meant to be human. The Cosmic Crisis. The day began like any other at the Galactic Academy. Zara was in the middle of a fascinating lecture on quantum entanglement when the first tremor shook the station. At first, she thought nothing of it. Surely a space station of this size would experience the occasional vibration. But when the second, more violent shake came, accompanied by a blaring alarm, she knew something was terribly wrong. "Attention all students and faculty," a calm voice announced over the intercom. "Please proceed to your designated safety zones. This is not a drill." Panic erupted in the lecture hall. Aliens of all species scrambled for the exits, some using appendages Zara hadn't even known they possessed. In the chaos, she spotted Glix, her crystalline lab partner, frozen in fear. "Glix," she shouted, making her way against the tide of fleeing students. "We need to move." Glix's crystalline body vibrated with terror. I can't. My structure. It's too fragile for rapid movement." Without hesitation, Zara scooped up her friend. Earth's higher gravity had given her strength that surprised even her at times. "Hang on," she said, cradling Glix carefully as she navigated through the panicked crowd. They made it to the nearest safety zone, a reinforced chamber designed to withstand various cosmic disasters. Inside, students huddled in groups, their fear palpable. Zara gently set Glix down and looked around, trying to make sense of the situation. Professor Zixnogra scuttled over to them, his multiple eyes darting nervously. "Zara, Glix, thank goodness you're safe. We're still trying to ascertain the nature of the emergency." As if on cue, the room's holographic display flickered to life, showing a three-dimensional map of the space around the Academy. Zara's eyes widened as she saw the problem. A massive asteroid, easily the size of Earth's moon, was on a collision course with the station. By the cosmic egg, Sinlara gasped, her iridescent skin paling. "How did our detection systems miss this?" "It appears to be composed of dark matter." Professor Blob oozed into the conversation. "Our standard sensors wouldn't have picked it up until it was too late." Zara's mind raced. Dark matter asteroids were the stuff of theoretical physics back on Earth. To see one up close would be the scientific discovery of a lifetime, if they lived to tell about it. "Can't we move the station?" someone asked. Professor Zixnogra shook his head solemnly. "The station's propulsion systems are designed for maintaining orbit, not rapid maneuvers. We'd never clear the asteroid's path in time." A heavy silence fell over the room. Zara looked around at her alien classmates, seeing fear, resignation, and despair on faces she'd grown to know and care for over the past weeks. She thought of Earth, of her family, of all she left behind to come here. She couldn't let it end like this. "What about the quantum entanglement drive?" Zara asked suddenly. All eyes turned to her. Professor Blob rippled in surprise. "The QE drive. But it's purely theoretical. We've never actually built one." "But we've been studying the principles," Zora pressed on. "If we could construct a working drive, we could quantum tunnel the entire station to safety, couldn't we?" Professor Zixnogra's mandibles clicked rapidly, his equivalent of stroking his chin. "In theory, yes, but the energy requirements would be astronomical, and the precision needed to calculate a safe tunnel exit. One miscalculation, and we could rematerialize inside a star." Zara stood up, her voice gaining strength. "We have some of the brightest minds in the galaxy right here. If anyone can do it, we can. But we need to work together." For a moment, no one moved. Then, slowly, Glix rose to his crystalline feet. "I'm with Zora. My species' computational abilities could assist with the calculations. Zorg, the Branchian who had become something of a friend to Zara since their zero-G combat match, stepped forward. The Branchian energy cores we use for our warships might be able to provide the power we need. One by one, students and faculty began to offer their unique skills and knowledge. Sinlara's species had unparalleled expertise in spatial mapping. Professor Blob's gelatinous form could safely handle the most volatile components needed for construction. As the plan began to take shape, Zara felt a surge of hope. This was humanity's greatest strength, the ability to unite diverse talents towards a common goal, to innovate in the face of impossible odds. The next few hours were a blur of frantic activity. The safety chamber was transformed into a makeshift laboratory and construction site. Zara found herself at the heart of it all, coordinating efforts and offering encouragement where needed. As they worked, the asteroid loomed ever closer on the holographic display. They could feel the gravitational effects now, subtle vibrations running through the station's structure. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity of non-stop work, the quantum entanglement drive stood before them, a hodgepodge of alien technologies cobbled together with human ingenuity. "It's time," Professor Zixnogra announced gravely. "Vlix, are the calculations complete?" The crystalline being's facets glowed with intense concentration. "Yes, I believe so. But the margin for error is slim." Zara took a deep breath. "It's now or never. Let's do this." As Zorg and his fellow Branchians channeled energy into the drive, Zara's hand hovered over the activation switch. She looked around at her alien friends, seeing trust and hope in their eyes. With a silent prayer to whatever cosmic forces might be listening, she flipped the switch. The world around them seemed to stretch and distort. Zara felt as if every atom in her body was being pulled apart and reassembled. There was a blinding flash of light, a moment of absolute silence, and then they rematerialized in open space, the dark matter asteroid nowhere in sight. For a heartbeat, no one dared to breathe. Then the room erupted in cheers, tentacles, appendages, and arms of all kinds embracing in celebration. As the initial euphoria subsided, the reality of what they had accomplished began to sink in. They had not only saved the Galactic Academy, but had also successfully tested the first-ever quantum entanglement drive. Professor Blob oozed over to Zara, his gelatinous form quivering with excitement. "My dear, do you realize what this means? We've just revolutionized space travel, and it was your human perspective that made it possible." Zara blushed, overwhelmed by the implications. "I just did what any human would do in a crisis: adapt and overcome." Sinlara placed a slender hand on Zora's shoulder. "Perhaps that is precisely why the galaxy needs humans. Your species' ability to thrive in adversity, to think creatively in the face of danger. It's unlike anything we've seen before." As the adrenaline of their near-death experience began to fade, Zara found herself surrounded by her classmates, all eager to thank her and learn more about the human spirit that had saved them all. In that moment, Zara realized that she had accomplished more than just surviving in an alien world. She had shown the galaxy the true potential of humanity, not just as survivors of a death world, but as innovators, unifiers, and friends to all species. As the Galactic Academy began the process of returning to its original location, Zara knew that nothing would ever be the same. The barriers between species were breaking down, and a new era of galactic cooperation was dawning. And at the heart of it all was a human from Earth, ready to face whatever new adventures the cosmos had in store. Unveiling Earth's secrets. In the wake of the dark matter asteroid incident, life at the Galactic Academy had changed dramatically. Zara found herself the center of attention not just as a curiosity, but as a respected peer and even a hero. The successful test of the quantum entanglement drive had put humanity on the galactic map in a way no one had anticipated. As Zara entered the grand lecture hall for her galactic history class, she noticed an unusually large crowd. Aliens of all species, some she'd never even seen before, filled the seats. At the front of the room stood Professor Cronus, a time-sensitive being whose shimmering form seemed to exist in multiple moments at once. "Ah, Zora," Professor Cronus's voice echoed with temporal resonance. "We've been expecting you. Today's lesson will be a bit different." Zara took her seat, curiosity piqued. The professor's form stabilized, focusing on the present moment. "In light of recent events," Cronus began, "the Galactic Council has decided it's time to delve deeper into the history of Earth. Zara, if you wouldn't mind joining me at the front." As Zara made her way to the podium, whispers of excitement rippled through the crowd. She felt a mix of pride and nervousness. She was no historian, after all. Professor Cronus smiled reassuringly. "Don't worry, my dear. I'll guide us through the temporal currents. Just share your experiences and knowledge as we go." With a wave of his shimmering appendage, the room darkened, and a holographic representation of Earth appeared before them. Zara gasped. It was so realistic, she could almost smell the ocean breeze and feel the warmth of the sun. "Earth," Cronus intoned, "third planet from its star, known to its inhabitants as Sol. A world of contradictions, beauty and harshness, peace and conflict, progress and destruction." The hologram zoomed in, showing various landscapes, from scorching deserts to frozen tundras, lush rainforests to sprawling cities. "Zara," Cronus turned to her, "perhaps you could tell us about growing up on such a diverse world." Zara took a deep breath, memories flooding back. "Earth is intense. Every day is a challenge and an adventure. I grew up in a region known for its extreme weather. We'd have scorching summers where the asphalt would melt under your feet, and winters so cold your breath would freeze in midair." The hologram shifted to show violent storms, earthquakes, and volcanic eruptions. The alien audience watched in awe and horror. "But it's not just the weather," Zora continued. "Earth's gravity is punishing compared to most habitable worlds. Every step, every movement is a workout. And then there's the wildlife. Images of Earth's most dangerous predators flashed before them: lions, bears, sharks, and more." Glix's crystalline form shimmered in fear, while Zorg leaned forward, fascinated. Yet, amid all this danger, Zara's voice grew stronger. "Humans thrived. We built cities in deserts, in Arctic wastelands, even floating on the seas. We climbed the highest mountains, dived to the deepest ocean trenches, and when our planet couldn't satisfy our curiosity, we looked to the stars." Professor Cronus nodded approvingly. "Indeed, and it's this drive, this adaptability, that has shaped human history. Observe." The hologram began to show scenes from Earth's past. Early humans huddled around fires, the rise and fall of ancient civilizations, great wars, and greater periods of peace and progress. "Humans have faced extinction-level events multiple times," Cronus explained. "Ice ages, pandemics, world wars. Yet each time, they've emerged stronger, more united." Zara felt a swell of emotion as she watched her species' history unfold before her alien classmates. "We're not perfect," she admitted. "We've made terrible mistakes, hurt each other and our planet. But we've always strived to be better, to learn from our failures." The hologram shifted to more recent history. The first steps on Earth's moon, the International Space Station, the Mars colonies. "It was our dream of reaching the stars that truly united us," Zara explained. "When we realized we weren't alone in the universe, petty differences seemed to melt away. We poured our resources into space exploration, into cleaning up our planet, into advancing our technology." Professor Cronus's form rippled with excitement. "And that brings us to a crucial point in Earth's timeline: the Great Leap." The hologram showed a massive structure taking shape in Earth's orbit. Zara's eyes widened. She'd only ever seen it in history books. "The Dyson Swarm," she breathed. "Our greatest achievement." Sinlara raised a delicate hand. "What is a Dyson Swarm?" Zara explained, her voice filled with pride. "It's a collection of satellites that encircle our sun, capturing its energy. It solved our energy crisis overnight, powered our first faster-than-light experiments, and allowed us to terraform Mars and Venus. The alien students murmured in amazement. Professor Cronus nodded sagely. A remarkable feat, especially for a species so young. But it came at a cost, did it not? Zara's expression sobered. Yes, the construction of the Dyson swarm pushed our planet to its limits. Climate change accelerated, resources were depleted. We had to adapt faster than ever before. The hologram showed scenes of floating cities, vast underground complexes, and humans with cybernetic enhancements. We changed ourselves and our way of life to survive, Zara continued. Some saw it as losing our humanity, but I think it showed our ultimate strength, our ability to change, to survive, to push forward no matter the odds. As the holographic display faded, the lecture hall remained silent for a moment, every being present processing the incredible journey they'd just witnessed. Finally, Zorg spoke up, his gruff voice unusually soft. You humans, you're tougher than Brankshin battle steel. No wonder you survived a Deathworld. Glix's crystalline form glowed with admiration. The resilience, the adaptability, it's beyond anything we've encountered. Professor Cronus's form solidified fully, a rare occurrence that signified the importance of the moment. Indeed, humanity's journey is a testament to the indomitable spirit of life itself. Zara, your presence here, your actions during our recent crisis, they are a continuation of your species' remarkable story. As the class ended and the students filed out, still buzzing with excitement and newfound respect for humanity, Zara felt a profound sense of pride and responsibility. She'd come to the Galactic Academy to learn, but she realized now that she was also here to teach, to show the galaxy what humans were truly capable of. But as she left the lecture hall, a niggling doubt crept into her mind. Humanity's journey had been one of triumph over adversity, yes, but also one of conflict and struggle. As humans ventured further into the galaxy, would they be seen as pioneers and allies, or as potential conquerors? The next phase of human history was unfolding, and Zara realized she was at the forefront. The choices she and her fellow human explorers made would shape humanity's place in the galactic community for generations to come. With this weighty thought, Zara headed to her next class, ready to face whatever new challenges the universe had in store. Unity in diversity. The revelation of Earth's history had sent ripples through the Galactic Academy. In the days that followed Professor Cronus's class, Zara found herself bombarded with questions from curious classmates. The fear and apprehension that had initially greeted her arrival had transformed into a mix of awe, respect, and in some cases concern. As Zara entered the Academy's Grand Assembly Hall for the annual Intergalactic Cultural Exchange Symposium, she could feel the weight of countless alien gazes upon her. The event, usually a celebration of galactic diversity, had taken on new significance in light of recent events. Headmaster Zilvan, a being of pure energy contained within a specially designed suit, floated to the center of the stage. His voice resonated through the hall, carrying a hint of static. Students, faculty, honored guests, he began, recent events have shown us that the galaxy is full of wonders yet to be discovered, challenges yet to be overcome. Today, we gather not just to share our cultures, but to discuss the future of our galactic community. Zara listened intently as representatives from various species took the stage, sharing insights from their homeworlds. She marveled at the diversity. Beings that communicated through color changes, species that existed in gaseous form, creatures that perceived time non-linearly. When it was her turn to speak, Zara took a deep breath and stepped onto the stage. The hall fell silent. Greetings, she began, her voice steady despite her nerves. I am Zara, of Earth. My world has been called a Deathworld, a crucible of evolution, a planet that forges its inhabitants through adversity. But today, I want to talk about something else that Earth has produced. Hope. She gestured, and a holographic image of Earth appeared behind her, slowly rotating. Humans have faced extinction many times. We've warred with each other, pushed our planet to its limits. But each time, we found a way to come together, to innovate, to survive. Our history is not just one of conflict, but of cooperation. The hologram shifted, showing scenes of international cooperation. The United Nations, global scientific endeavors, joint space missions. When we realized we weren't alone in the universe, it changed everything. Suddenly, our differences seemed small in the face of cosmic diversity. We united not out of fear, but out of hope. Hope for a future among the stars. Hope for new friendships and alliances. Zara could see her words were having an effect. Some aliens leaned forward, intrigued. Others nodded in understanding. I've learned so much since coming to this academy, Zora continued. Each of your species, has something unique and valuable to offer. The Branchian's strength, the crystalline's computational skills, the Alan's adaptability. Together, we're capable of miraculous things. We proved that when we faced the dark matter asteroid. She paused, looking out at the sea of alien faces. Humans don't want to conquer the galaxy. We want to explore it, to learn from it, to be a part of this incredible tapestry of life. Yes, we come from a harsh world. Yes, we've developed abilities that might seem frightening, but we've also developed compassion, curiosity, and an unshakable belief that we're stronger together than apart. As Zara concluded her speech, the assembly hall erupted in a cacophony of alien applause. Tentacles waving, crystalline structures chiming, energy beings pulsating with approval. Headmaster Zilvan floated back to the center stage. Thank you, Zara of Earth. Your words give us much to consider. Now let us open the floor for discussion. What followed was unlike anything the Galactic Academy had seen before. Species that had long kept to themselves now engaged in eager conversation. Ideas flowed freely, cultural barriers crumbling in the face of shared curiosity and hope. Zorg, the once intimidating Branchian, proposed a joint training program to combine human adaptability with Branchian strength. Glick suggested a galactic computing network that could benefit from human creativity and problem-solving skills. Zinlera excitedly discussed the possibility of human artists collaborating with Alan color shifters to create entirely new forms of art. As the symposium continued, Zara found herself at the center of a whirlwind of ideas and possibilities. She caught sight of Professor Zixnugra, who gave her an approving nod with several of his eyes. Later, as the event wound down, Zara stood by one of the Academy's vast windows, gazing out at the star-studded expanse of space. She felt a presence beside her and turned to see Headmaster Zilvan. "You've done a remarkable thing, Zara," the energy being said, his voice crackling softly. "You've shown us that diversity isn't just about tolerating differences. It's about celebrating them, combining them to create something greater than the sum of its parts." Zara smiled. "I just shared what I've always believed about humanity, sir. We're explorers at heart. We don't want to change the galaxy. We want to be changed by it, to grow and learn." The Headmaster's energy form pulsed thoughtfully. "The road ahead won't be easy. There will be misunderstandings, fears to overcome. But I believe your species has an important role to play in the galactic community." As if to emphasize his point, a group of alien students approached, led by Glix and Zorg. Zara. Glix's crystalline form shimmered with excitement. "We've been talking, and we have an idea. What if we formed an interspecies study group? We could learn from each other, combine our strengths." Zorg nodded his massive head. "Yeah, turns out you humans have some pretty interesting ideas. Might be worth exploring." Zara's heart swelled with joy. This was why she had come to the Galactic Academy, not just to learn, but to build bridges between worlds. "That sounds amazing," she said. "Count me in." As the group moved off, chattering excitedly about their plans, Zara took one last look out at the stars. Somewhere out there was Earth, the crucible that had forged humanity. But here, among the diversity of galactic life, she had found a new home. The future was uncertain, filled with challenges yet to come. But Zara was sure of one thing. Whatever the galaxy had in store, they would face it together. Humans, Branchians, crystallines, Alans, and countless other species, each bringing their unique strengths to bear. In that moment, Zara realized that humanity's greatest adventure wasn't just surviving on a death world or reaching for the stars. It was this: forging connections, building understanding, and working together to create a future brighter than any single species could imagine alone. As she turned to join her friends, Zara felt a profound sense of purpose. The story of humanity among the stars was just beginning, and she couldn't wait to see what the next chapter would bring.